go to prison first.
That's true. They could. Oh, you look super cozy there. Mics are hot, by the way. Crazy. Yeah. They could all go to prison, but they're not all going to go to prison, right?
Oh, no, of course not. They have way too much money for that.
Well, they're not all monsters, right? Just a few of them.
I didn't say they're monsters. I'm just saying they're criminals.
Usually the two are synonymous, but I guess we can look at the scales of gray between them. That's fair. Not all criminals are monsters, and not all monsters are criminals. I guess that's true.
Some are still waiting for the right opportunity.
To become criminals or to become monsters?
Either or.
Okay. Sounds fair. Right.
All right, let me look at your amazing list. I thought it was titled Crap.
Crop.
I can tell now. I had it very small on the screen.
Oh, welcome home, crazy killer.
What on earth are Anaheims? I've never heard of that.
Anaheim pepper?
Ah.
I don't know if I spelled it right. I probably mixed. I did. Should be Anaheim.
Yeah, I think Heim is like
Hime, like princess? No, other way around.
No, like the German word Heim. H-E-I-M, probably.
Yep. They're the Heims of Anna, whoever she is, and whatever a Heim is. What is a Heim?
Home.
Oh, that's actually cute. Oh. Is Anna's house peppers?
No, I mean, you can't really translate it like that. Because Anaheim is it's like a place then, you know? It doesn't work like that.
I would like to translate it that way from now on. Thank you very much, Supneka.
I mean, it's like trying to translate Louisville, you know? It's not really Lewistown or something in that sense.
Louisville is the place that's named after Lewis. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, I guess.
Okay, we got to figure out when these things are planted. Planting seasons, Colorado. Blah, blah. No, this is not what we want. When to plant vegetables in Colorado. No, thank you. Ooh. Okay. So it's cold as shit in Colorado, and so this right here is talking about the technique of starting your seeds indoors and then moving them to the garden when it's actually warm enough so you can get your shit done right. It's useful to know. Why don't we alphabetize our list? Add another column and say plant date. All right. Corn. May 4th to May 18th.
You really want to plant proper corn? Like that?
Have you seen the size of our backyard? It's huge. We've got so much space. We're not going to put the corn in the planter box itself. We're going to toss the corn and some pumpkins way in this back corner that's just sort of empty and barren and dirty.
Okay, and, I thought you wanted to put it into planter boxes. I was like, corn in planter boxes seems to be pretty tall.
No. And if the corn takes, then the corn takes. And if it doesn't, then it doesn't. But there's so much space. We could just plant a fuck ton of corn and pumpkins over there. That's the goal.
Apparently, you should be planting corn in several short rows and not in one or two long ones.
Okay. That is probably what we were going to do anyway, but good to know.
According to Texas A&M AgriLife Extension.
Oh, I would believe that source. They know their shit.
And Joseph Mazabny, who's an assistant professor and extension horticulturist.
I've never heard of that person, but okay.
He's probably the most famous corn man you'll ever hear about.
I just didn't know you guys were such close friends.
We write letters all the time. Exactly like that.
Why are carrots not on this list? What the fuck is wrong with this list? Fine.
No,
It's
they were
fine.
there. I've seen carrots.
Oh, they are here. I am
They were
just
there.
blind.
Yeah.
I'm just super dumb.
It's okay.
it.
You just need to eat more
Peas. Sugar snap peas. I think that's what I meant by snap peas. Excellent.
Yeah. Well, usually they are. How the heck do you write peas, Neal? What the heck? God damn.
Oh my god, no, that's just a typo.
Yeah,
That's
that is
wrong.
that
That's
is
just-
a terrible typo.
Yeah. Okay, so then we need... Just want 2 more columns. Start indoors transplant. Onions. Ooh, we gotta start the onions soon. Nice. Okra. No, thank you. And a lettuce. There's probably a bunch of varieties of lettuce, though. Not having kale. But our squashes and pumpkins and gourds can go here. Do you got potatoes? Potatoes. Nice. Ooh, spinach should go on the list.
No, you're amazing, Twig.
What's up, Twig? How you doing? We're not doing cauliflower. We're not doing kale. Not on my dime. Oh, Lauren will probably want to do tomatoes, but I hate them. Tomatoes.
Alright, I keep forgetting that you hate tomatoes. The heck?
With a fiery passion of 1,000 suns, do I hate the tomatoes? Oh, we can do some
What about the
watermelon.
tiny ones? Like the cocktail ones?
Just
variety?
as bad.
Okay.
And I think it is some sort of allergy is the wrong word because it's way too strong, but it is like a very strong visceral gagging reaction that I get when I eat fresh tomatoes. But if they've been cooked, if they're turned into pasta sauce or pizza sauce or any of these other things, I have absolutely no problem and it's fine. So I think it's not a personal taste, but like a bodily reaction that is not. I would love nothing more than to love tomatoes. People say they're great, but what are you gonna do?
I have a friend who can't eat raw bell pepper or she gets the worst stomach pains.
Ooh, gross.
Like she's not allergic, but for some reason she just can't digest them.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Gross. Onions, green beans.
Bell peppers are pretty easy to grow though. Like very easy. Which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
Beans need like a trellis, don't they?
They do. They need some sort of structure to climb.
Oh, you could build that yourself. That would be exciting.
Yeah, of course we're gonna build it ourselves. Got our planter box set up. We're gonna put a trellis on the back if we need it. The other thing that we had talked about was growing green beans next to corn and letting them climb up the corn stalks, depending on, the timing of the two. And that way we wouldn't need to build a trellis, and then the green beans would have something to climb on. And then they could share their, space together in the ground together. I think there might be some synergy between green beans and corn.
Well, I'm not sure what Joseph Mazabni would say to that, but I think, if you want, you could give it a shot.
Well, you could just write Joseph and, sort it out.
I'm sure he's a very busy horticulturist.
All right, I still need to know when to plant bell peppers. Ooh, Farmer's Almanac. What do we got? Oh, I should have just been using this the whole time. This is way better. Dates based on first frost.
Yep.
Last frost, not first frost. So but if you're starting them indoors, why does the frost date matter? May 9th. Colorado Springs Municipal AP.
Well, you'll still put them outside, right?
Yeah, we'll eventually
And
move
there
them
is
outside.
probably an ideal time to put a seedling outside, instead of keeping it
Yeah.
longer inside.
I suppose this is like 2 weeks here, and this is about 2 weeks here. So maybe it's like if your last frost is on the 30th, then you should start on the 14th. But if your last frost is on the 16th, then you should start on the 27th. Maybe they're just saying you need like 3 weeks, 4 weeks inside. Oh my god, actually a long fucking time. February to May is many months. I don't know if I want to keep bell peppers growing in the house for months.
Well, they're not gonna be huge.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we just keep paperwork on the kitchen counter already, or on the dining room table is not where we eat. It's just where we put all of our crap. So it could just be filled with plant crap instead of paper crap.
Are you going to put in like lamps and stuff, or will you just do it with natural sunlight and hope for the best?
No, we're just going to use regular old-fashioned sunlight.
Old-fashioned. Ah, yeah. Good.
The old-fashioned sunlight. If we were going to do like grow lamps, then we'd probably be talking about like an indoor situation here. Okay. So why don't we say this? We're looking at bell peppers. And then May. Oop. And then don't ever start the seeds outside with bell peppers. What do they? Is there agreement about carrots? Carrots. 23rd to 20th. Ooh, vastly different dates. So who do we trust more? Do we trust garden.org/apps/calendar? Or do we trust almanac.com/gardening/planting calendar? Who is the plant authority? This website looks old and funky, so I trust it more than the slightly newer, fancier one.
Oh, all right.
Bring on the bees is today's site banner. Ho ho, wonderful. Is this Bring on the bees right up here? All right, I'm ready.
It's our free newsletter. Sure, I will. Lovely. Comes with the free, I don't know what.
Mm-hmm.
Get our free You know how much money I pay for all of my newsletters? A lot of money. Like, man, you want a newsletter? You're paying $50 for that. Oh, Jesus. Printer-friendly version. All right. That symbol is, like, ancient.
So this place was for Colorado Springs. I guess this is the Boulder guide.
Well, you just needed a third source that you can trust.
Okay, so they are actually changing things between Colorado Springs and Boulder, which is nice. And do you have a Boulder, Colorado guide? You do. NECA, you're absolutely right. Local resources over the online ones. There is a nursery in town that has all sorts of planting information up on their walls. My plan was to first sort of get the lay of the land with a spreadsheet and then walk into the local store when I can talk to them about like soil acidity and basicness, and also compare and contrast. Yeah, what's up?
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
It's fine.
I'm gonna link you this very interesting page I just found for later. I'm also gonna put it into chat for all the gardening aficionados.
Gardening with native plants, bouldercolorado.org.gov. Oh, even better. Beauty, uniqueness, low care and low water, wildlife, biodiversity.
I'm more interested in the poisonous one they have just scrolled down.
Poison ivy. Just poison ivy? Was there more about poison in here?
There's a list of noxious plants to avoid in landscaping. It is published by the Colorado Native Plant Society. There's baby's breath, bouncing bat, chicory, Chinese clematis, common yarrow, cypress.
Yeah, but these are just
birch.
invasive exotic plants. Those aren't the noxious ones. Oh no, here we go. Nox. N-O-X.
They look pretty. They look pretty bad to me.
Yeah. This column right here, like soapwort and chicory and Chinese clematis. I don't know.
It's a flower.
Dalmatian toad flax. The
That's
Dame's
an excellent
rocket.
Oh man, that's
Okay.
naming stuff is a lot of fun.
Mayweed chamomile. What is Dame's rocket? Oh, this is lovely. I want some Dame's rockets. But for realsies, these are very pretty flowers. Native alternatives. Native blue columbine. Oh, these are wonderful. Okay, I'll take the blue columbines instead.
Oh, those are really pretty. You could tell these are bad. Look at me like, Yep.
Oh, look at, they got the, like little pockets in each of their things. I don't know what's going on there, but I dig it. Petals, that's the word. Petals. Okay.
So you can have a vegetable garden, a herb garden, and then a forbidden garden.
Forbidden garden of scratchy, itchy, pointy things. Nice. We'll just line the walkway of our house with that. So anyone who shows up and wanders off the path a little bit, will walk into poison oak, poison ivy, Dame's rockets.
A great travesty struck Boulder today when an old lady looking for help went through a local garden and touched what was it called? Dame's rockets. Because he had to immediately suffocate. Oh my god.
This almanac looks a little bit better than this garden.org. They've got more nuanced information, which means they must be more trustworthy, right? That's how information works?
Sure. The older it looks, the more reliable it is.
Well, that's true. Because then, it's wildly successful. Otherwise, they still wouldn't have it up. And there's no need to update. It's like Craigslist. Wonderful, useful site. Still looks like trash from the 1990s. But it's functional and it does the things that it needs. And doesn't need to update to... It's like...
Or Albert had a tragic heart attack about 20 years ago and nobody's updated it ever since.
Yeah. But it's like when something is advertised a lot on TV and they put a lot of money into the advertising, it's a piece of shit, right? Like you want to go get like Sky vodka or something like that. They put a ton of money into advertising. No, it's going to be kind of crap. All the money You advertise it because it isn't good enough on its own, and you are trying to promote it. Something that is sort of ugly but still around, that's probably the one to go to. That means it's good. It's like,
I don't watch TV, but I believe you.
No, but it's like, if you're going out for Mexican food, do you go out to the place that looks run down and looks way too small and the sign is kind of fallen off and the menu's from 30 years ago? Or do you go to like the brand new place with the steel counters and the brand new signs and everyone's smiling and happy and in like nice uniforms? No, you always go to the dirty, like disgusting hole in the wall place for any of your food.
You're telling me you don't like Bartico?
I'm telling you, Bartico is... it's okay. It's not great. And for the cost, it's definitely not great. You want to go to like El Sitio's in Santa Barbara. Bam. That's where you get your great Mexican food. It's just this tiny little, rundown shop on the corner that looks way too small, but they make the best burritos I've ever had in my life. Ugh. The best. We ate there like twice a day when we were in Santa Barbara over Christmas, and it was amazing. If only I could go back. Ooh, chives. Chives are not what I thought they were. I thought chives
are pretty good, though.
Yeah.
They look a little weird if they, well, I think it's kind of cute, though, that when they are in bloom, they are purple. But you can't eat them at the same time. Gotta wait till they're done.
All right, well, they are April 4 to 18. Cilantro, also known as coriander, is May 9 to 23. Corn is May, capital M, 9 to 23. Cucumbers start indoors April 11 to 18. And then May 23, June 6.
I mean, doesn't seem to me like you need to start them indoors. Like, if you really want to, you can, but, like, time-wise, I don't know.
Cucumbers?
Yeah.
.gov website sounds like some Victorian-era London urchin talking to an adult. What are you talking about, Timmer? What does that even mean? Beans. Green beans. May 16 to June.
Oh, May is a really busy time for you, then.
For planting? Yeah. I expect so. We don't have green onion. We'll find you later. There's no jalapeno on here. God damn it. Fine. Lettuce.
Oh, what about spinach?
Yep, it's on the list.
Very good. Have you had kohlrabi at some point in your life?
Konami?
Kohlrabi. You probably had some kohlrabi in your life, but
AB plus.
Just below kale.
Kohlrabi. I don't know.
Kohlrabi. Yeah.
What is this thing?
I'm surprised it's on the list because it's not a very well-known vegetable, I guess.
These Sputnik-shaped vegetables? Sputnik-shaped? Are we talking about Sputnik the probe? What a description.
Yeah, well, somebody old enough to still know what that looked like wrote that article, so that's great.
I mean, it does kind of look like Sputnik. It's not.
Sure.
That's actually a very good description.
You just gotta know what that thing from, like, the 1950s looked like, but otherwise...
Who doesn't know what Sputnik looks like? Huh? It's the first artificial satellite.
You think they modeled Beholders after this?
Ugh. Fine. Lettuce. April 28 to April 11, and then April 25 to May 23. Onions. Oh, good. This place says we don't start them indoors. Love it.
Maybe you just trust the website where you like the result better.
Well, that's how I do all of
Maybe
my...
that's the answer, right?
That's
Nowadays,
how you deal with
like,
gardening
which
and
website
politics. Just what agrees with what I want to do, and then I'm going to follow them and be angry if it doesn't work out. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
That's how life works, kids. Okay. Parsley, April 11 to May 2 as well. Nope, that was onions. I'm dumb. Parsley is April 11 to May... Oh, no, April 11 to May... April 25. Boy. Potatoes. You know, the problem with potatoes is their expression potato does not translate when typing. Because if you type potato to someone, you're just saying potato, and it doesn't have the sound.
Potato.
Yeah, but who actually says potato? No one says potato. No one says tomato anymore either. Those are outdated expressions. But that's the only problem with potatoes, is that you can't type potato to someone and have them understand. See, now over here, garden.org, pumpkin, they don't even have, oh, here, pumpkins, May 10 to May 24. Oh, it actually, wow, that is 6 days later than you would do it in Colorado Springs, which is only like 100 miles to the south of us. Wow, that really does change the planting schedule by like 6 days. That's pretty wild. But then they say you start them indoors. Now, this sounds like crazy talk to me. I'm not starting my pumpkins indoors. That's just not happening.
I don't think they're that big when they start out, really.
But as soon as they start to vine, they go everywhere. They crawl over everything. If the pumpkins are happy and healthy.
Well, they're only in there, for what, 2 weeks? How big is a 2-week-old pumpkin?
No, this says pumpkin April to May 23rd, a month and a week.
Oh, all right.
5 weeks? Okay, that's not that bad. A 5-week-old pumpkin isn't going to be... Okay, maybe I'll make some notes. April 18 to May 2... May 23 to June 6.
There are also many different pumpkins, right?
There are, yes.
Oh my god.
Maybe I should read the FAQ. Frost days. Average frost days based on historical weather. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Although it's likely still possible. Planting by the moon is considered a more traditional technique. Use moon-favorable dates at the very start of the gardening guide. Okay.
All right, we're back to witchcraft. Let's go. I like it. Nix would approve. I mean, I can lay you some cards and tell you when you should start planting, but I don't think that's...
Some cards? Some, like, moon cards? Or something?
Some tarot cards, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, pull me a card. Tell me when to plant.
Well, we'll have to make, like, we'll have to do a whole year, and then I can tell you which month is good for you.
All right.
Swiss chard. What on earth? What even is that? Oh, all right. Mangold. Okay, I know what that is. Not my favorite leaf vegetable.
Swiss chard?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like kale. It's not worth eating. Not worth planting. Squash. Zucchini, more specifically. Subset of the squashes. You know, this is a lot of things to keep indoors. I don't mind having some things that start indoors, but if most of this stuff has to start indoors, like I can't bring a 4x16 planter box worth of seedlings into my house for 6 weeks. We have a cat.
But it
He would
doesn't
destroy
have
them.
to. It's just for your choice, right? Like you're either doing one or the other.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, let's see one of these places that has both. Ooh, none of these double up. What a shame. Over here, there were some double ups. Okay, so they would just say the date that you transplant would be the date that you would normally plant. Unless plants early. Huh. Well, crap. They'll just use the transplant date as the actual direct sow date. That seems fine.
But it... Oh, for the ones that don't have it on the right hand side where it's not available, you mean?
Yeah.
No, usually is there like a usual difference between those things where they have both?
There's only this one that has them both, and the spinach down here that has them both. And so for the lettuce, it's the same date, and the spinach is like in the same range, but ever so slightly off. Like the ground date is a little bit broader.
Watermelon.
Yeah, I like watermelon, but I put it on the list already. I'm just not as excited about watermelon as I thought I would be.
I don't know.
Oh, but we won't actually use these dates anyway. Yeah, okay, tomatoes. I don't want to... Yeah, okay, so here is the list so far as I'm going through these things. And like half of them are start indoor things, and I don't like that. I really don't. But it could be important. Oh, I see. Part of this stuff is getting cut off for you over there. Ah. Oh, okay. Well, it's fine. Where were we? Right, the tomatoes. Okay, and the spinach. Mar 28 to April 18. We already did the zucchini. Strawberries. Not even listed.
I mean, technically you don't have to do indoors. You could also get like a tiny greenhouse.
You know, we have this geodesic dome that we take to events and stuff and set up, and you can, cover with a tarp or whatever, or hang things in there, But we've been talking about turning it into a greenhouse, which I think is something that we could do. We just don't know exactly how. I think we just need some like plastic tarping or plastic, wrap that we could put around it, and then cut a hole for a door. Or I'm sure we can figure out the door.
There's actually tutorials about that online.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Apparently they use solar wrap.
Sounds about right. Just have to sell a few things to Prosperous Universe first, since the ships have arrived. Quick little important break over here. Gonna sell our sodium and our other sodium.
I'm getting some food while you're in space.
Let's bring over the grain. And let's fill these other orders that there wasn't room for. rest of the drinking water and the titanium ore. I think the rest of the stuff goes to Montem, not Valis. So you stay there and you go to Valis. We can burn... We can do a slow burn. We can take 4 hours to get there. Excellent. All right, back to planting. What's up, Big T? How you doing? Got a burger and a bottle of wine for tea. Feel filled with tolerance for humankind. Oh, that's wonderful. The inner dick in me is like, how do I destroy that tolerance for humankind? But you probably shouldn't, you know? It's rare enough these days that people feel happiness and joy for humanity. It's probably a bad thing to poke holes in it. Strawberry squaw. Okay, I think we've written down everything else. So now we're going to say... planting strawberries, Colorado. When should I plant strawberries? Yes, in the springtime. Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, strawberries are pretty robust. I would, like, I don't know, probably a month after the last frost or something.
Let's see. Three growth types of strawberries: June bearing, ever bearing, and day neutral. Okay. What does the Denver Post have to say? Spring is a good time, although it can be planted late summer or fall. Okay.
I would say strawberries are probably one of the easiest things you can grow. Apart from mint. I mean, I have strawberries and I never bought any. They've just fallen off other people's balconies, dropped down into my pots, and now I have like 3 pots filled with strawberries. So.
That sounds nice. I remember growing strawberries as a kid, but it's been so long.
They even grow like between the cracks of my house. That's how persistent they are.
Jesus. You can shear their roots back 3 or 4 inches.
Yeah, no. I mean, one thing you really need to consider, though, is which things you want to keep where so they don't take over everything, right? Because some of those plants will just start growing and then they'll, like, outgrow everything and suddenly you just have a field of mint with nothing else in it.
Yeah. Lauren keeps warning me about this too, but I think like this is going to be a hobby and going on. Like I plan on putting much time into this, so I'm not too worried about things taking over since I'll have a close watchful eye. And it's not like if I ignore it for a week and come back, all of a sudden the yard's gonna be overtaken by things. You know, like if you're worried about mint taking over, it still takes like a couple of years for it to really get out of control. You really have to like ignore shit for things to get that out of whack, unless it's like kudzu or blackberries.
We're gonna review that in about a year. Let's see.
Okay. I love how people just say springtime for strawberries, but no actual planting dates. Strawberries, Colorado. Nope, it's the same article. Is it the same article too? No, different article by the Denver Post. Blah, blah, blah. Excellent. Excellent. No months listed anywhere. Look for the plants that are already fruiting when you buy them. I want to grow them from seeds, you fools. Ever-bearing strawberries are more reliable and are unpredictable strain with late frost and snow. Produce a big crop in June and bear all season with another crop in early fall. Okay. So we should say ever-bearing strawberries. Spring. Awesome. Now what about jalapenos? Planting dates, jalapeno. Ig tea, is your garden overrun with mint? Did you forget about it and then look back after the pandemic and now it's entirely mint? If so, lucky you. Now you can make mint juleps or mojitos all day long and just slowly get through the whole garden. When you use your mint for cocktail mixes, it's not being an alcoholic, it's just responsible gardening.
But you know how many, if your garden is taken over by mint, you know how many mojitos those are.
Yeah, you just make 3 mojitos a day with lots of mint, and in a couple months you'll be fine.
Oh. Yeah, well, you know, too drunk to keep up with the gardening anymore. But
well, no, because then you'll stumble around in the garden and like step on the mint plants and sort of break them down. It's a feedback system. The more intoxicated you are, the less healthy your garden becomes. I'm guessing. 8 to 10 weeks before last frost. Nighttime temperatures are above 60 degrees Fahrenheit? Sweet Jesus. Our nighttime temperatures are 19, 21, 21, 29. Oh, actually, these are quite nice. This is much nicer. It was like -4 yesterday. Maybe 2 days ago. I have no idea where I'm going to get my seeds from, Vex. Probably just our local nursery.
do you have like a market, like a farmer's market or something?
There used to be farmers markets every Saturday and every Wednesday, and COVID shut them all down. And winter usually shuts them down too, but they should come back eventually. Harden off jalapeno. What the fuck does that mean, harden off? Process of getting your indoor seedlings accustomed to life outdoors. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they don't freeze to death once you put them outside.
Turning a week before the final frost. On a still, cloudy day when temperatures are fairly steady, water plants before they go outside. Place them in your sheltered spot for 2 hours on the first day. Then leave them out for 4 hours. 1 hour of direct sunshine. Okay, so you take them outside for a little while and bring them inside, and the next day you take them outside for a little longer, bring them inside, and you back and forth it for a while until they are acclimated.
Sure. I want to see you having like a really strict crop calendar where you're like, well, today is the last carrot day. Tomorrow they're going to be ruined. Then you walk outside. I do admire you making this calendar, but you know, I'd be damned if you'd be like, okay, 15 more minutes until the jalapenos go back inside.
I mean,
Well, I'm gonna be like, oh, probably
Will-
should have done that 2 weeks ago. Well, I guess.
we'll eyeball it. It's fine. And ignorance, what's wrong with Garden Story? Garden Story is I don't know what game this is, but there's no gardening section on Twitch. So I picked a random gardening related game. I almost went with Gnome Garden something, but I didn't. We could do Gardenia. Garden Simulator 2010, but that's,
Oh, that's the wrong year.
I know.
Who still plays that?
I don't know. Gnome Garden Carnage or Garden Gnome Carnage is almost good, but there's not enough carnage happening here. I think Garden Story is fine.
Is there no creative gardening thing? Well, there's food and drink, I guess.
Yeah. I don't care about my metrics, ignorance. I'm not trying to game the system like that. It's not the way I want to play. You got a bunch of heirloom seeds from Everwild. Okay.
I guess IRL has a travel and outdoors one, but I don't think that counts for planning outdoor stuff inside. I'm not sure.
It's definitely for a real life garden, MG gamers. Okay. So that's enough about hardening. What was I looking at before? Oh, peppers. Peppers. That's what we're looking for. Yes, you have a cough? Something wrong? I believe they entrust the next generation to you.
Oh, nobody trusts me. Don't worry about it.
Okay, good.
As I shouldn't.
So what is Last Frost Boulder?
Well, here's the problem, Neal. You actually can't do that by date.
Well, obviously, Last Frost is going to change year from year, but there is an average Last Frost, so we can get like a ballpark.
I'm just warning you because last year, our Last Frost here was 2 months later than the year before. It was insanely late.
Yeah.
Like, incorrect. It was like May. Like, when that is for us is really late. Usually it's like March, you know?
Yeah.
So that can really screw you over if you start with your indoor planting too early.
Because here the average Last Frost in Boulder is May 9, which is late. But we have had snow as late as the end of May in Boulder before. In just the few years that I've been here.
I mean, at least for our region, they said this is going to be a really long and very hard winter.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, that depends.
Probability of frost occurring after the spring frost date or before the fall frost is 30% chance. Ooh. 30% chance. But what was just Last Frost Boulder, Colorado, 2021? Give me historical Last Frosts. Thank you very much. Last 32. Oh, right around here. Okay. Well, we'll have to keep an eye on the weather forecast. Ooh,
or you just get the free newsletter. I'm sure they're going to tell you.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Spring alarm. Let's go. So adorable.
So start seeds 8 to 10 weeks before Last Frost. If Last Frost is May, what do we say, 8th? 9th?
Something like that.
So 10 weeks before that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, which would be February 27. Wow. Feb 27. I don't have a week-long thing, so... Oh, 8 to 10 weeks. So 27 to 2 weeks later, February, March 7th. No, 14th. We're going for jalapenos and maybe some Anaheims.
No.
You're not into the Anaheim peppers. Jalapeno is really what we usually use for cooking, but Anaheim's I like the way they look. You know, they've got a cool shape to them. They're kind of like flat and wide and long. They're weird looking. Maybe I was thinking of it. Oh yeah, this is them. These weird looking, scraggly. They look like witch fingers. Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you want to reduce the amount of stuff you're growing, I think 1 pepper is plenty.
No, we need way more than 1 pepper. Lots of pepper plants.
1 kind of pepper.
Oh, well, 1 kind of pepper. Yeah, sure, whatever. We'll see.
And that's the reason why your list is so long, Neal. That's why.
Well, this is the first stage. The first stage, you collect all the information about all the things you might want to do, and then as you go forward, you trim it down to figure out what actually will work.
Yeah, or you trim it down from the start. You're like, well, I only have to look up half that much stuff, you know?
No. Not how you do this. Clearly, you've never planted anything in your life, and you don't know what you're talking about. Clearly, obviously.
I mean, I didn't know you brought me on here for my expertise.
It's just for your connections to the agricultural community in Texas. That's why. That's why you're here.
I mean, yeah. I'm gonna have to write a stern letter.
Ooh, serrano peppers are nice. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what is 1 more kind of pepper, right? On a long list of vegetables. Just put it on.
I mean, instead of having 3
What
of
about
one
the
pepper
tiny
plant,
chilies? Why don't you grow these? Because you can nicely dry those and then you have them for the rest of the year.
You can, but I guess I never use the tiny chilies. I don't see why I couldn't, though. Should be fine.
Well, you can, grind them down, use them as a spice.
Make some bread with them.
Or, you could actually put them into pizza oil. Yeah, it's pretty good.
You don't talk about frost or planting dates. Thank you very much. Piece of crap San Francisco gate.
Yeah.
Do this in spring as soon as the soil warms up enough to be tilled and worked. Lovely. University of Minnesota Extension.
University of Minnesota Extension. Okay.
Planting, direct
The
seeding.
Egyptian walking onion.
Excuse
Well, if that's
me?
not a D&D monster, then I don't know what.
Also known as the tree onion. I've never heard of these before. They look just like green onions, though. Oh, but they're the fat ones. Actually, I think I've seen these in stores before. They're like the super fatty green onions, maybe. These bulbs are weird up top.
I mean, if that is clearly a magical plant. Amazing.
It's a cross between a cultivated onion and a Welsh onion. Gets its name from the way it walks across the garden.
Like an Egyptian, obviously. What?
Instead of flowers, this plant produces top sets, a cluster of bulbous. Top of the stalk where the flowers and seeds would normally be. They flop over from the weight of the bulbous if not harvested and replant themselves, thus beginning their walk across the ground. So their seeds...
Great walk. Oh, this is getting better. No, keep going. I want to hear the rest.
Okay. It was originally thought to be native to India or Pakistan, even though it's a cross between a Welsh onion and a cultivated onion, and then later introduced into Europe by the Romans. Also sometimes called onion or tree onions or topset onions. This vigorous and trouble-free plant is hardy in zones 3 to 7. It's not susceptible to jonglong, or juglone. It can be grown near the back walnut trees. Near black walnut trees? Really? Thank God.
Oh my God, you were really worried about that one.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Thrips can be a problem, but the damage is primarily cosmetic. Oh,
they're the bugs. They're these little fuckers. Okay. Gotcha.
Oh, I hate those. Those are terrible. Ah, fuck them.
Die back and look scruffy in the winter. Early in the spring, green shoots emerge. Leaves are hollow. Red or purple bulbs, slightly enlarged, about an inch long.
I mean, is this a botanist or a gardener?
Look at this. Look at these little thingamajobbers up here. All right, we do not need Egyptian walking onions. Thank you very much.
Oh, but you could tell everybody the story about how they walk across the garden. I still don't understand where the Egyptian part comes from, but I guess.
You know, the phrase walk like an Egyptian was a thing for a while. I guess maybe when they renamed the plant, that was just in vogue, and it since left culture. Like, no one talks about that shit anymore, but we're stuck with this weird-ass name. Oh, boy. Okay. So, transplant for early May, transplant plant seeds in early April. We'll just say April 1 to 7, and then we transplant May 9 to 23 or something like that. It's fine. Good enough. Mint is the only thing that I do not have. And I think mint is hard enough you can plant it whenever. When to plant mint? Colorado. Wait until nighttime temperatures reach 50 degrees? Christ on a crutch.
I think that's jalapeno temperature, Neal. Oh, I'm pretty sure that was similar.
You know, maybe it's just because we're here in the heart of winter, but the thought of it being 50 degrees at nighttime seems impossible when our days are like still in the 30s and 40s. And I know it does change, but Ooh, basil. Actually, that should be on the list too. Love me some basil.
Basil needs a lot more warmth than mint does, though.
Yeah, I have a basil plant right here. It's the only plant. Oh, my camera's not on. Shit.
I was like, what? I mean, are you gonna show me? Or...
Yeah, I got a basil plant. Hold on, let me find a way to...
If I hold it up, you can feel it.
Hold on. Trust me, there's a basil plant in front of me.
All right.
Yeah, that's good enough. Here we go.
Oh, you should take a picture.
Yeah, it's on my windowsill. It's looking a little You know, while we were gone, it didn't get enough water. People who were taking care of our cat didn't water the plants enough, and so it suffered a little bit. We've trimmed it back. These back stems are all sad now, unfortunately. Look how sad these stems are right in front of my face. But the rest of it's doing okay. It was doing great before we left for our holiday trip.
What am I looking at, Neal?
Oh my God, I forgot to transfer it. Damn it. Okay, here we go. Sorry. Here's the plant.
I really like theater of the mind, but you can't overdo it. Okay, where is it? All right. Oh, wow. Okay. That is like a basil tree.
Mm-hmm. And the backside is a little bit scruffy because people failed to water it, and so those back stems sort of died off.
But it does look like everything underneath is dead, but the top is doing like kind of okay, I guess.
Yeah, it needs some more water. It needs a little bit more attention. I've been plucking the leaves, letting them dry, and then like crushing them for crushed basil to put into dishes.
But fresh basil is so much nicer.
Yes. There's a time for fresh basil, and there's a time for like dried crushed basil. The truth is, everything could just use more basil all the time, and so you can't really go wrong. But the leaves eventually do die of their own accord or need to be trimmed, And if you don't have a need for them right away, then it's just really nice to be able to dry them and use them at a later date as needed. Okay. Where were we? Basil, right. But we were originally here for mint. Oh, wow, there's so much stuff here. Wonderful, okay. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah. How to grow. Prepare. Plant. 55 degrees. Jesus Christ. Okay.
Yeah, it really needs it warm.
Maybe we won't do any basil outside. Maybe the basil plants will just stay inside. That seems fine with me. Mint. In the past, I've just stolen mint plants off the side of the road by all the other places that have them and stuck them in the ground, and they've been fine. And that's probably what I'm going to do. Wait until at least 50 degrees. Dig a planting hole and place the mint plants in the soil as deep as they are in their containers. Firm soil over the roots and water in. Plants will spread. So space plants 12 to 18 inches apart, or plant one plant in a larger container. For a more vigorous crop, keep up with watering and fertilize with an all-purpose fertilizer once a month. Okay. Don't need to worry about mint. So let's go back to the list. These are all springtime plants that I'm wanting to do here. Who knew that you planted vegetables in the springtime? Who knew? In fact, literally none of these are summer or fall plants. Great. So let's organize. Ooh, no, not alphabetically. That actually doesn't work. February, March, April. Let's organize by the date they go in the ground. And the jalapenos need to be transplanted. Shit, I didn't finish that. Start indoors 6 weeks before frost ends. Okay. And that's going to just be the same old May. So April is the last of these months. May. April comes between March and May, technically speaking. Technically speaking. You stay here. A23 stays here. You come up to here. Okay, so this is more or less the calendar approach that we're gonna do. So lettuce and spinach. Oh, these need to be started early too. So we are going to mark things that start in February with a light blue, and then the March starters can be they should be the light blue and the other one should be the darker blue. Colder. Okay. And then the Aprils can be a light green. And your Aprils. And the May stuff can be a yellow. Excellent. So now we do the dark blues at the top because we need to deal with them first. And the yellows come down over here. And the greens come up over here. And this is, broadly speaking, our plan of attack. Lettuce doesn't need to be... doesn't worry about frost.
Well,
Hard
it
frost
should.
hardy, which means it can withstand frost below 28 degrees. Wonderful. Okay.
But
lettuce
that's when
is
you
sturdy.
already planted it, right? Not when you have tiny, like, seedlings?
Well, yeah, it says transplant into the ground in April or May, but March or April over here to start.
I think lettuce is something you definitely want to start inside, though.
Why can't I live
Pretty
in
sure
sunny
you
Santa
wanna
Barbara
start-
where it's warm all year round and you can plant whenever you want and everything grows all the time? Ugh. Who decided that cold weather was something that we needed in this world? Who is the manager of Earth? I'd like to speak to them about weather patterns.
Well,
Okay. There's got to be other things that we need here. Let's do green beans and corn grow. They grow together, right? Yeah, the three sisters. I don't know how true the legend of the three sisters is, but right spatial configuration for the right timing for the seeds of each type. All their crops require warm weather and shrivel up at the slightest sign of frost. Circular mound, 5 feet in diameter, raking the top into a flat planting area with tapered sides. 5 feet in diameter is a large, mound of soil. 6 inches tall. That's 25 divided by 2. That's 12.5 cubic feet of soil. It's a lot. Mix compost and soil amendments, blah, 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 blah. 8 inches apart, 3 foot diameter, circle on the top bed. Once they are 6 to 8 inches tall, plant the beans and squash. The bean seeds go inside the circle of corn. With one seed plant. Oh, so when they say a 3 foot diameter circle, they literally just mean a circle of corn.
oh, okay.
And then the beans go on the inside of the circle. One seed planted about 3 inches from each corn stalk. Squash seeds go outside the circle of corn, 12 inches from the closest corn stalk, but space them widely. Okay. Well, that's how circles work. If you go 12 inches out from a circle, then between them is going to be quite a bit farther. Thank you for explaining geometry in a weird way. As the bean vines grow, direct them towards the corn stalk. You can tie them to the stalk with a piece of twine. Build as many circular mounds as you like, but leave plenty of space alone between each one. The squashes will quickly spread beyond its bed to cover an area roughly 10 feet in diameter. Keep the beds watered and weeded as needed. Step carefully among the squash vines to avoid breaking them as they ripen. Lovely. Okay. That can be done. So they say green corn, but we can use sweet corn. Modern corn varieties are fairly short. Variety that's at least 6 feet tall. The taller, the better. Excellent. They must be pole beans, of course. We do not want bush beans. Winter squash variety. Butternut acorn delicata? Delicata? Never heard of delicata. Okay, so we want the winter squash not because that they're preservable through the winter, but because they vine and reach, which is fine. Okay. Candouvsville, baby doll. And our corn gets planted in May. And our beans get planted in, oh yes, perfect, June. And our pumpkins get planted in May as well. Okay, that's fine because we just need to do the corn before the beans. But the pumpkins can go whenever the fuck they want. A compost pile. So this winter, last spring, end of last fall, we made a planter box in the backyard. And we have been putting all of our compost in the planter box and then, buried underneath it to try and get the soil to have some level of nutrients in it. But we don't have a really good compost pile. When I was a kid, my mom sunk half a barrel into the ground. We just dumped all our compost back there, and she added like manure from the local stables and some other things, and like got a good selection of compost and worms going, which we could use for our gardens. And I would be interested in doing that. However, we didn't want to. The winter here is cold, and we didn't want to start that project in the winter, so we just put everything in the actual garden bed already underneath dry leaves and dirt and let snow and rainwater fall on top of it. So compost bin, gonna have to do eventually. Have not done yet. There's this, we've got like a little staircase out back of our house that leads down, because our house is level in front, but we're on a very slight hill. And so out the back, there's like a 5-foot staircase, not even like a 4-foot staircase that heads down. And right behind the staircase on the corner of the house, there's this weird like pit where the staircase doesn't quite go to the edge of the house. And so there's like a little awkward area and there's a little fence in there. So you've got like a 3-sided zone, which is completely useless. And I've been thinking about maybe using that as the compost area, because then you could step out and just like look behind the door and dump your compost off the stairs down to a little compost pit. But that would require creating some, because you want a lid on the compost bin, so we'd need like a lid that you can lift with the pulley so you don't have to go downstairs and dump it. But then if you miss the pile, then you're just getting like goop everywhere. So maybe that...
Yeah, you also might get flies if you don't pay attention, if you put a lot of fruit stuff in there.
Yeah, that's why you definitely need the lid for heat and for bugs. We'll sort the compost shit out later.
I'm looking forward to that stream.
The which story?
That stream I said to the compost planning.
Yeah. Yep. A lot of good stuff coming up in the year. It's gonna be... No, I'm not jinxing it. It's going to be a fine, average, ordinary year. And I am not looking forward to it in any way, shape, or form. Keep it simple. Have low expectations for 2022. Try not to get your hopes up. That's the plan this year. Okay, so what other details about things do we need? Plant dates. We know how to water. I don't need to write depth charts. Well, yeah, why not? Why not have all the information in one spot? So, seed depth. This way, in the future, I can just consult one document. Okay, so seed planting depth spinach. 1/2 inch. Okay. And tomato, 1/8 inch. And jalapeno, 1/4 inch. No. 0178? No, what is it? 0189? No, 0188 is 1/4. There we go. Inch. And bell pepper, 3 to 4 inches. What?
Hmm?
You don't plant bell pepper seeds 3 to 4 inches underground. Do you? Make the transplant holes.
What?
No. From seeds, thank you very much. It's best to buy your bell pepper plants rather than grow them from seeds. Oh. Okay, let's see. Buy plant? Question mark? But what if I want to try them from seeds anyway?
I think you would still not, like, I think you would still grow some inside and then transplant them.
Yeah, they're on
I
the
don't think
start
you would go
inside
straight.
list, but I do want to know how deep to put them. No light is required for germination, 1/4 to 1/2 inch. Lettuce. Quarter to half. Peas. Half to 1 inch. Parsley. Don't need a lot of parsley. Just a wee bit. 1/4 to half. Onions. Ooh. Onions are bulbs, so how the hell do you plant onions? You just like chop a bulb in half and put it in the ground? Poke a hole in the ground, you can grow an onion from a little plant. Must blah 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 blah. Blah blah blah. No. You grow them from seeds? Quarter inch. But they're bulbs, right? So can't you?
Mm-hmm. Well, you just leave the bulb outside until the green sprouts, and then you put that back in.
Yeah. And then that will it create another bulb, or will it just grow the one plant based on that one bulb?
No, I think. Wait, I actually have to look it up for onions. It should be a different one. Like it should grow an entire bigger plant.
Right, but it's not like a potato. If you plant a potato, eventually you'll get like 100 potatoes off of the one potato. But if you plant an onion bulb, it doesn't split and become multiple bulbs. It grows a plant, and if you want to eat onions, you don't plant bulbs, you plant seeds, right? Yeah, look at this stuff. This is just a single bulb.
Hmm.
All right. This guy looks trustworthy. Grow the perfect onions every time.
Hmm. I think they always say you need sets of tiny bulbs and plant those.
Start this guy over from scratch. Oh, hold on.
Oh my god, I've just found the video you were talking about. Oh.
They're enough to make you cry. Hi, I'm Ben, and if you really want to know your onions, this one's for you, because here comes some top tips for growing fuss-free bulbs every time. The first tip is to give onions exactly what they're after. That's a sunny
Kind of looks like a psychopath. He's a little too into the onions.
Soil. Add compost or
I mean, you were looking for somebody who knows a lot about onions.
Ideally,
You can't blame him for being interested.
So it isn't too fresh.
I mean, he's exactly what I want, but I also feel like if I tell him where I live, he's going to kill me and turn me into an onion bed.
That is just because, you know,
I'm killable.
if you had a troublesome past, it has a bad effect on your relationships in life.
You don't say.
That cause plants to rot. Onions can be started from sets, part-formed bulbs that will give you a bit of a head start, using bunches of young plants or starts, or with seedlings that you've grown yourself.
You know, the other night I watched like a stand-up comedy special, and the guy there said women liked to watch mass murderer documentaries because they like men who have a plan. And I felt attacked on a very personal level. I was actually like yelling out loud for a second there at my screen. I'm upset about this.
It's not so you can daydream over a man with a plan? Is it more so that you know how to stop the mass murderer, or so that you can get tips on how to mass murder other people? There's a lot of ways you could go with why this is a thing, but it certainly is.
Sowing into pots of a seed starting mix. They're then germinated indoors, and then once the seedlings are up, carefully separated out and planted into plug trays. We're on the cusp of early autumn, which is the perfect time for planting overwintering or short day varieties, which is what I've sown here. Autumn planted onions mature several weeks ahead of spring planted onions. So while they don't store as well, they will provide some very handy early bulbs.
Oh, look at them.
Ideal for anyone wanting to be as self-sufficient as possible. Whatever you're planting, getting the proper spacing right is important because it has a direct impact on the final size of your bulbs. Spacing rows about a foot or 30 centimetres apart leaves plenty of space to get a hoe in between plants to keep on top of weeds. A decision then has to be made on whether you want lots of medium-sized bulbs or fewer but bigger bulbs. Personally, I prefer normal-sized bulbs and more of them, so I space the onions about 4 inches or 10 centimetres apart within the row. But if it's
he likes normal-sized bulbs, and
space them something
more
like
often,
8
you know,
or 20
rather than the big ones
apart
every now
or
and
even
then.
More.
Yeah.
Onions have long, thin leaves that don't shade the soil, which creates ideal conditions for weeds to thrive. Turn your back for too long and weeds can quickly gain the upper hand, competing for resources and compromising your chances of well-formed bulbs.
He really is the David Attenborough of onions, isn't he?
Keep on top of things.
He really is.
Use a hoe to carefully weed in between rows earlier on in the season while plants are still young, then hand weed once this gets tricky, or to hoik out weeds sprouting within the row. Regular weeding will also reduce the seed bank in your soil, giving cleaner conditions for the crops that follow. Bolting is when vegetables flower prematurely. It's very common with onions and can lead to split or poorly formed bulbs that don't store nearly as well. 2 reasons behind bolting in onions is cold weather soon after planting and hot, dry summers as well. Onions are biennials, which means they flower in their 2nd year, but a cold snap soon after planting can trick plants into thinking that winter's arrived, so that when it warms up again, they're then primed to flower. Spring planted onion sets are at a greater risk.
Oh my god, the cold snap is
already
tricking
one
the
season old.
plants.
So
I
avoid
find that
planting
very
sets
unfair.
too early in spring when hard frost is still likely. Keep them covered if it does turn cold, or start your own seedlings off from seed. Hot, dry summers can also cause bolting. The solution is, of course, to water, which should also help keep plants cooler in hot weather while supplying more moisture to swell those bulbs. If despite your best efforts plants do bolt, cut off the flower stalk and use the onions as soon as possible.
Oh
Your
yeah.
cue to harvest are when the leaves start to yellow and flop over at the neck. That's where the leaves join the bulbs. Now these ones have got a touch of mildew, but they've still formed good sized bulbs. So I'm going to lift them up straight away and take them to the greenhouse where they can fully dry out. Now, because these have got mildew, I'm going to have to compost the foliage separately from my main compost heap, and then limit the resulting compost to
Oh, he's
use
also
only
growing
on
pumpkins.
ornamental borders, well away from the future onions.
Can he also grow the perfect pumpkin?
I mean, I'm gonna have to find this guy's
All
YouTube channel.
onions
This is
must be
amazing.
properly dried out or cured before they're stored. It's an
Well, you
important
definitely
step
have
that
to
helps
link his
develop
content
the
now,
protection
'cause I
of the
feel he
skin,
deserves
so they
that.
keep for longer.
Seriously.
In fine weather, you can just leave lifted bulbs on the soil surface to dry out, but if it's in any way damp, it's safer to bring them under cover. Lay bulbs out somewhere with good air circulation. Racks are ideal for this purpose, or you could hang them upside down from staging like this. They should take around 2 weeks to dry. Store them in a cool, dry place, in boxes, nets, or woven into beautiful onion strings. Right, I'll need to make sure that I plant next year's onions well away from here, and that's because I don't want to pass the disease from one crop onto the next. And that's actually one example of why, for vegetables like onions, crop rotation is so important. Now, are you growing onions this year? Let me know
Yeah.
in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, why not return the favour by popping it a thumbs up,
All right, buddy. Who are you?
and of
What is this? Grow Veg. That's his name. All right, buddy. I dig it.
Are you overwhelmed?
What else does this guy have? Companion planting made simple.
That is actually really important,
I-
because that's like,
yeah.
what can you stick with what?
I'm going to let
Or
you
should
in
you
on a little
stick with
secret.
what?
It's not
Yeah.
just what you grow, it's where you grow it and the company it keeps.
I mean, I'm not
Hi,
entirely
I'm
positive
Ben.
how we ended up here from your list, but I hope this is helpful to you.
Yes, this is exactly where I want to be. You know, this is why we start this process early and we sort of figure out what needs to be done. You know, we're still 20 days out from the first thing that we would need to start from seeds indoors. And that gives us 20 days to watch. What was his name? Ben. It gives us 20 days to watch Ben talk about companions. And look at these cute
That
little
video
emojis he
is from the
puts.
29th. That's like up to date.
Yeah.
I thought you don't like modern vegetable advice and you want to go back to like, you know.
Oh, this guy is so non-modern. Did you see the way that he was handling those onions? He didn't have any modern equipment. He was just using little sticks. He was walking around in, I don't know what you call those types of shoes, but there was nothing modern about this whatsoever.
And until recently, much of companion planting
And he
was
sort
based
of
on
looks like
little-
a thin Patton Oswalt, which is just, you know, extra bonus points on the side.
more
What?
hearsay. But
Patton Oswalt, you know, the stand-up comedian?
Because he has glasses?
Yes, because he has glasses. That is the only two things that these people have in common. Look. All
I
right.
don't think they look alike.
Patton Oswalt and this guy.
Patton Oswald has like, I don't know how much weight he lost, but
Yeah.
how do they look alike?
They totally look alike.
No, they don't.
The nose looks alike.
So-
The forehead is
so
very
what?
similar. Their eyebrows are similar. Their chin is very similar. He looks like a thin Patton Oswalt.
Okay. Sure, Neal.
Or what's the guy that does the cooking shows? I know there's a bunch of them.
No, he doesn't look like Gordon Ramsay at all.
No,
they just
not
sound
Gordon
similar when they
Ramsay.
talk over videos. What?
Is Gordon Ramsay English?
What kind of question is that?
Well, I've never seen any of his shit before, so I just, you know, assumed he was American. as you do. No, but I'm not
He's
talking about that cooking
actually
guy.
Scottish.
Okay, I'm talking about I know there's like 10,000 people who do cooking shows. Can't remember his fucking. It's fine. It doesn't matter.
Thank you. Clearly, this man does not look like the comedian whatsoever.
Can you trust people with names like Mario Bombo or Goose Dude? Come on now. Those are untrustworthy names.
I mean, Jamie Oliver looks like, what is this? This is like some weird sort of British racism where they all look the same.
Okay, I have to find this guy now. Alton Brown.
Alton Brown.
Alton Brown. Yeah. Yeah, he looks a little bit like Alton Brown.
Yeah? Is it the glasses again, or?
Christ on a crutch, Faye. Do you know how many people in this world have glasses? It's not the glasses. There's a bit. Come on. How does this photo not look similar? Look at that.
All right. So you're saying Alton Brown looks like something Patton Oswalt?
No. This dude, this gentleman named Ben, looks a little bit like Alton Brown and a little bit like Patton Oswalt, even though Patton Oswalt and Alton Brown don't look anything like each other. That's all I have to say. Satisfied.
Okay.
I've made my point.
I'm going to let you in on a little secret. It's not just what you grow, it's where you grow it, and the company it keeps. Hi, I'm Ben, and until recently, much of companion planting was based on little more than hearsay.
This man deserves more viewers, not gonna lie.
Research that proves that growing certain plants together can
38K, he's doing all right.
of pests, boost growth, and even help to attract wildlife. So come along with me as I use proven techniques to plan out my companion planting combinations for the coming growing season.
It's a beautiful.
First off, a bit of an explanation.
Can't even tell if that was zucchini or some sort of pumpkin, but
who knows?
Close together for the benefit of one or both.
Oh, look at his dog!
So the benefit can be one way or mutual. That could be as simple as growing nectar-rich, flowering plants among your crops to attract pollinating insects, or something like two vegetables.
That's a great idea! Putting flowers amongst your crops to bring in the bees. Why, that's a brilliant notion.
Side by side, attract pollinating insects, or something like two vegetables grown side by side to confuse or repel pests. So with that,
and you see that when he talks about that, onions and carrots love each other. See that fucking heart in the upper left-hand corner? Onions and carrots. I'm gonna make a column in my area for companions. And onions love carrots, and carrots love onions, according to Ben.
Side by side to confuse or repel pests. So with that in mind, let's look at a few examples. My first companion planting combination is to tackle the green peach aphid, which is
Did you say they confuse pests?
Different species. It's resistant to more than 70 different
There's a lot of
and if that
I mean, look, see, it's worked. You're confused.
Yeah, well, thank you.
It can transmit more than 100 different plant viruses. But there is one plant that it simply can't stand: garlic. With this in mind, I'll be planting garlic around my more susceptible crops. This garlic went in last autumn, and it's come on really quickly, actually. I've also got some garlic in the greenhouse ready to go out. My plan is to grow potatoes in between rows of garlic, which will act like sort of pungent bodyguards.
Yeah, I really think you should have like a royal botanist who's called Ben.
Lettuces, along with Alison.
Oh my god, I love this dog!
Aphid-eating hoverflies. And you can see more on that in last week's video, which I'll pop a link to down below. Tomatoes and basil, which I'm
I want this greenhouse now.
Best friends in the kitchen.
Yeah, I'm telling you, greenhouses are rad.
Good friends in the
yeah,
garden
they're fucking awesome.
And that's because basil repels many pests, such as thrips. And if you happen to be in the US, basil.
Oh, here's his like basil next to the tomatoes. That's like half a pizza.
Just like basil, there's loads of research backing up these claims. For example, folk at Iowa State University found that when basil was grown alongside tomatoes, the tomatoes got a lot less insect damage. Researchers also found that interplanting tomatoes with basil
that looks really beautiful
in less
too.
Egg laying by the armyworm. So basil makes my list, and it's downright delicious too, of course. Next up are those plants we can grow to take the brunt of a pest attack so that our more susceptible and precious crops.
This sounds more like this guy's jam. Sacrificial plants, what you grow to attract the bugs that will leave your other plants alone. This is where he starts to deviate into like the dark necromancy that I know this man's involved in.
Left alone. Now for me, there's one plant that stands head and shoulders above the rest for this purpose, nasturtiums. Nasturtiums are a really, really very pretty annual flower. It can be left to sprawl around or trained up trellis to give a bit of colourful height. And the flowers are actually edible. Use them in salads, in cocktails, or perhaps as cake decorations. Several insects, including cabbage family eating caterpillars, just love nasturtiums. Apparently they love the mustard oil it produces. So it makes sense to grow nasturtiums alongside vulnerable crops like cabbage, kale or broccoli, anything in the brassica family.
Yeah, I'm not growing any of that shit.
Nasturtiums are one of those flowers that self-seed themselves from one year to the next, popping up here and there. But in this
I
case,
think the
it's a
flowers
really
still look
welcome
nice.
sight. My plan is to grow them alongside this bed here, which will have the kale for this coming growing season. I'll probably plant them in the path so they'll sprawl alongside them. I'm going to start them off in plug trays, grow them on, and then plant them out. There are plenty of other flowers worth growing amongst your vegetables, plenty of other flowers. Of course, there are the nectar-rich blooms that will attract pollinators such as bees, that will then go on to pollinate your crop plants such as tomatoes, squash and peas, for example. Now, great examples are the sunny side up, cheering blooms of poached eggplant, maybe comfrey, ageratum and zinnias. But flowers have many other benefits beyond attracting pollinators. One of the most powerful flowers is tansy. This obliging bloom attracts all sorts of pest-eating bugs, such as ladybugs or ladybirds, tiny parasitic wasps, and the minute pirate bug, which doesn't so much plunder the high seas as plunder other pests. At the same time, tansy repels many of the baddies. It's a great plant, very cheery, and it's a perennial, so you plant it once and it will give summer after summer of blooms. What more could you want? Just one word of caution though, if you are in North America, it can be very invasive, so it is banned in some states. And it can also cause a bit of an allergic reaction on some people, so do wear gloves when handling.
Is it on the list, Neal? You gotta check.
What was the name of the plant?
Including alongside
I already
nasturtiums and
forgot.
tansy are marigolds and calendula, which will also attract all sorts of beneficial bugs. This is all well and good, but who has the time, honestly, to research scientifically rigorous companion planting
calendulas are
combinations?
really nice.
I know I don't, which is why I love the online garden planner. Our team has spent many months, years even, exhaustively trawling through all of the peer-reviewed research in this area, separating what's proven from what's not. The result is the Garden Planner's evidence-based companion planting system. Let me show you.
This is where he sells us something.
Take these cucumbers here as an
Get the
example.
free newsletter.
Just select the Show Companions button, and the plant list here is narrowed down
this is
to
amazing.
plants that are companions of cucumbers. Take this dill here as an example. The arrow goes from the dill, which means it offers.
Didn't he
benefits
just
to the
say he
cucumbers
doesn't
because
have
it
the
attracts
time to figure
hoverflies,
it out?
which will eat
That's why he and his
So
team
let's
developed
pick
this
that
app for him.
and drop a few of them onto our plan. There we go, perfect. Let's look at this sweet corn here as another example.
Oh, I
Click
love
on
how
the
this
Show
is coloured.
Companions
This is
button,
like...
And then, great, if you look here, you can see the beans, the benefit is in both directions because the arrow goes in both ways. And that's handy because I need something against this arch here. So let's pick up the beans, drop them down and add a row there. Lovely stuff. The Garden Planner takes all of the guesswork and the legwork out of finding the perfect companions.
Oh my God,
for
how often do you
plants.
think he had
I
to
love
do
the fact
this
that
video
someone else
just
has
with
done
the
research
app and
for
the
me,
fiddling?
So I don't have to.
So many
Amazing.
times.
Yeah, so what?
Yeah.
Smart? Definitely. Companion planting is a seriously powerful but crucially natural way to turbocharge your garden's growth. And with this
Crucially natural?
evidence-based companion planting system, I can deploy it with ease. Now tell me, will you be making more of companion planting?
All right. Some pretty good stuff there, Ben. Dig it. I think Lauren, my wife and I have stopped. We finished all the shows that we were watching, so I think we can just
You're
hang
gonna
out and
stop
watch gardening YouTube videos in the evening, and this will be the rest of our winter. Turn kitchen waste into soil superfood.
As gardeners, we try to use all we can to grow the perfect garden naturally. Hi, I'm Ben, and in today's video, we're going to look at some simple ways to make use of common items of kitchen and household waste in the garden. They will all help to boost your soil's fertility, but best of all, they're free. Have you had your morning cup of coffee? Great, but don't be in a hurry to throw away those coffee grounds. Now,
We
look at
compost
this.
our coffee grounds.
Have all my Christmases come at once? I reckon so. I salvaged this from the local coffee shop and I got a whole sack full. Oh, that smells good, doesn't it? Well, coffee grounds are a superb natural addition to any garden. Wake up and smell the coffee, folks. Coffee grounds are a great source of nitrogen. They've also got the two other major plant elements.
I hope he
phosphorus
doesn't
and
smell the
potassium,
rest
and
of
they've
the
got
garbage.
micronutrients in them too. This is great stuff. So let's
Oh, I love the scent of old oranges in the
So
morning.
the first use of
This is
coffee
where I
grounds
buried
is
Gram
adding
Gram.
moisture around
Her
your
guts
plants.
have turned into great fertilizer.
When applying them, we just
still
wanna
smells like
sprinkle
the
them on.
lotion she
We
used to
don't want put
use.
them in great mats, really thick mats, because what that'll do is it'll cause the coffee grounds to form a mat, which will make it much harder for rain to penetrate. So just sprinkle
You know
them
how
on like
much
this,
coffee you gotta
just
drink to
slightly
use,
over.
like, to amass that amount of fertilizer? That's
Well,
a
he
lot.
said he went to the local coffee grinders and just got some of their grounds from them.
Grounds isn't available to plants immediately, but the
I'm just going to take a bucket around to the local baristas and just load it up with coffee grounds.
So it's
Steal some mint while you're at it.
Oh, I will. I steal the mint from the bars, though, and I'll take the coffee grounds from the coffee shops. Different locations to source these.
Quite acidic, but most of the acidity is lost into the coffee when you actually brew it. Coffee grounds themselves have a pH of around 6.5 to 6.8, which most vegetables actually really like. And the amount we're applying here is never going to have any effect on soil chemistry anyway, so you don't really need to worry about it that much. Just leave it on the surface, don't dig it in. And a little word of caution, there are some plants like tomatoes where if you're applying lots of it, they won't really like that. So do use it sparingly as we have here. Or add them to your compost heap, and this is where their high nitrogen content really comes into its own. Despite being brown, they're considered a green because of that high nitrogen content and are excellent for balancing out browns such as straw or leaves, for example. Their tiny particle size means it'll get to work straight away, and the microbes will break down that nitrogen into that plant available form that we're after. Just spread them onto the compost heap like this when you add your browns and let them speed up the decomposition process, putting a pep in your compost heap step. Now, worms love coffee grounds as well. It actually aids their digestion, so you can add them to your wormery along with other ingredients as well. It seems that worms like a caffeine fix as much as we do. What about
Did
tea
he
bag
write
magie,
on
you
that?
ask? Well, yes, put them in as well. But bear in mind that the bags, the skins of the tea bags often contain plastics, so if you want to add the whole bag, make sure you switch to a brand that has fully biodegradable outers. What the cluck? Eggshells? Yes,
my
sirree.
God.
Eggshells are a fantastic source
That
of
pun.
calcium as well as other trace elements like magnesium. So don't shell out on expensive soil amendments, save your shells instead. Before we use these, we're going to have to sterilise them so we don't get a case of salmonella
God,
on our
I
hands or
swear.
something like that. So let's go and do that.
Jeez.
Okay, so we've got two options for sterilising our
God,
eggshells. The
please.
first is to spread them out onto a tray and pop them into a low heat in the oven for a few
Don't
minutes.
shell out
Or
for
we
eggs.
can microwave them on high power for at least 10 seconds. Once they're done, crush them up to increase their surface area, or better
Dude,
still,
Ben,
grind
clean
them up
your
into a fine
fucking
powder
oven.
using a
What
pestle and
is
mortar,
wrong with you?
a high-speed blender or
Jesus.
coffee grinder. The calcium within an eggshell is locked up as calcium carbonate, making it unavailable to plants as it is. But by grinding it up into this fine powder, we've made it a lot easier for your soil life to get to work on it, turning it into a form plants can use. What we've in essence done is turn eggshells into a fabulous, slow-release source of calcium, released over several months. Spread your eggshells onto beds in exactly the same way as coffee grounds, so thinly over the surface. Its high calcium content is going to be great for plants that will grow in here that are prone to blossom end rot, so things like tomatoes, peppers and zucchini or courgettes, for example. Calcium is great at helping to build cell walls too, so this is going to be a real powerhouse for next season's crops. And calcium is also great for leafy greens like kale and cabbage, for example.
What isn't calcium good for?
Worms absolutely love eggshells, especially at this consistency.
Even the worms love it.
Because just like coffee grounds, it serves as a grit, helping their digestion and improving their general health.
Ben loves them too.
Happy, healthy worms.
He thinks they're excellent.
Good compost and good
He
soil.
just like piles up a little line of it and snorts some calcium. It's great for your digestion as well.
They'll love you for it. While we're down here,
I'm surprised he hasn't smelled it yet.
About eggshells and slugs. Eggshells might keep slugs away.
Better than
literally
cocaine.
Thousands of them in a big, thick ring around your plants, but really they're not that effective. And the same goes for coffee grounds. You're best sticking to natural, wildlife-friendly forms of slug control, such as slug traps.
I've never heard of a slug trap before, but it sounds terrible.
Give me some skin, bruh. A banana a day helps keep the doctor away, or something like that. I eat at least one a day, and my daughter is mad on the things. And what do you get when you eat lots of bananas? Well, lots of banana skins, of course. You'll find plenty of advice about using banana skins on the internet, but I'm afraid this is another area where there are lots of myths to be debunked. Banana skins are a relatively good source of potassium, as well as micronutrients such as calcium, but the values of the amounts in the skin are often grossly exaggerated. Some people recommend soaking the skins in water for several days to create a nutrient-rich tea, but in reality this isn't very strong or effective. Really, the best thing you can do is add your skins to the compost heap where, like other ingredients, they'll rot down to release their nutrients into the final crumbly compost. And bananas are great at this time of year in winter because there's often less coming off the garden. So it's just another thing to add to the compost heap to keep everything going.
I get uncomfortable when he looks away from the scissors while he's cutting.
And last up is wood ash. And by wood ash I mean ash from clean, untreated wood. You can use ash from charcoal as well, but avoid ash from barbecue briquettes and definitely coal, which has a very high sulphur content. Wood ash is a fantastic natural fertiliser. It's got good levels of potassium and phosphorus, as well as lots and lots of micronutrients, which if you think about it, the shrub or tree will have taken up during the course of its life, and now it's in concentrated form in this ash. In fact, that's where the name potash, the name for nutrient forms of potassium, comes from, because wood ash used to be collected up in metal pots, pot ash. The bits of charcoal you get, the partially burned wood, are biochar, which has an almost impossibly gigantic surface area of nooks and crannies that are great for soil biology. Lots of homes for all those microorganisms that make outstanding soil. I collect wood ash from my wood fire here, and at this time of year there's plenty of it. Use your common sense, of course. Only collect it once it's completely cooled down, and never mix hot ash with plastic. Metal tubs are best. Like our other natural soil amendments, ash is great for simply sprinkling onto beds. It's quite water soluble though, and easily washes through, so do add some during the winter as it's produced, but save some for the growing season as well. Because it's actually quite alkaline, this is a great one to use around brassica family crops like these broccoli here. For the same reason, do avoid using it around acid lovers like blueberries, rhododendrons, raspberries and so on. And don't use it where you're going to grow potatoes because alkaline soils can encourage potato scab. Its alkaline nature makes wood ash a great alternative to lime to help neutralise acidic soils. It's about half as strong as lime, so you can use approximately twice as much to achieve the same effect. And yes, you guessed it, wood ash, like our other natural treatments, is great on the compost heap. It's not only going to add its fertility, but all those little bits of charcoal are going to be homes for those magical microorganisms that help this whole heap do its magical thing. Also, because it's slightly alkaline, and compost heaps tend to go slightly on the acid side, it'll help to bring it back into a more natural balanced state. Just add a couple of handfuls to every foot or so depth of other material that you add. Nothing goes to waste in this household, believe me. Are you saving any of these plentiful and natural soil amendments?
Okay. I feel like I need to know more about composting, though. Like, he's got this compost heap, and he keeps just chucking shit on top of it. But the composting that I've always done, as I mentioned earlier, was more like in an internally closed structure that kept out bugs and retained warmth and moisture. And he's just got, like, a pile in the backyard that he throws all his crap into. And how do you ever get compost out of there? Do you like pull it from the bottom? Do you turn the whole thing? Do you just let the whole thing sit?
I mean, usually those you have to turn several times a year.
Okay, so you do turn the compost pile. That would make sense.
These are ones I know. I mean, maybe I bet Ben has a video on this one, but
I bet he does. Build soil with leaves. Yeah, he's got a whole bunch of shit on this topic. Okay. Prosperous University. No, it doesn't. Okay, it's fine. All right, I'm gonna go grab some coffee so I can go help the what do you call them? The digestion of the worms, and I'll be back in a few minutes with some coffee.
oh, he could have at least put a video on, so we would have something to watch while he's gone. That is a very nice character. The 4 decks are a shame, but 17 strength, 17 will. It's pretty good. Ooh, ooh. Very strong. What is the threshold for speaking in 2E? I think you're not able to speak with 3 and...
Okay, coffee has been acquired. What's up?
If you have 3 India and he's semi-intelligent, but you can speak with difficulty.
Are we looking at Vex's character here?
Hmm.
They do grow them big and dumb on the farm. We're going to listen to this video about how to build your soil with leaves, because I have a friend in town who was talking about this a whole bunch one day. And he's the sort of guy who, like, knows his shit, usually. But also, he's the sort of guy who talks a lot of shit sometimes. And it's hard to... He usually knows what he's talking about, though. So this hopefully will confirm everything he would say.
Autumn's here, and it's time to do something about this
But
lot.
I expect there to be something about brown and green.
Oh, of course.
Oh.
And look at the color of that shirt. It just blends in with the nature.
Hi, I'm Ben, and with the leaves now coming down thick and fast, gathering them all
I
up
piled
can seem like an
huge
endless
amounts of
task.
leaves in our
But
planter
if you've
bed
ever
based on
looked
my
upon
friend's
leaves with a heavy
recommendations
heart,
and common
please
sense.
don't, because every single one of them is gardener's gold. In this video, we're going to look at some awesome ways of making the most of this abundant annual windfall, and hang around to the end to find a great way to supercharge all of the leaves you do rake up. Buying in soil amendments like manure or pre-bagged compost.
Just put him on half speed and he'll do it.
These little pieces, well, they can save you loads. They're great for improving soil structure and feeding all that wonderful life within it. They can keep plants cozy over winter.
How green this fucking place is. Why can't I live in a place like this?
Potting
Oh, you don't want to. If he lives in the UK, then he has about 5 days a year he can make these videos.
The bottleneck for the video production isn't actually the script or the filming or the video editing time. It's like, oh my god, there's a sunny day. Quick, let's film something. And then...
leaves, it's just to spread them out onto vacant beds. Now,
but growing up in deserts, I would love a place that is raining all the time.
Gradually feed the soil. All the worms and other beneficial organisms that are in here will gradually take the leaves down, and of course they'll rot down as well. And as they rot down, they'll contribute lots of organic matter.
He's recycled the worm, you little shit. We've seen this.
That's what I was thinking too. It's got that warm stock footage.
Beneficial microbes that help to create healthy soil and healthy plants. Now you might be wondering, how do you stop the leaves from blowing away? Well, you've got a few options here. You could use some netting and then just weigh that down with stones at intervals. That's a bit fiddly. I actually just like to lay bamboo canes over like this at various intervals, just crisscrossing, and that does actually help to keep everything in place. It's a bit of a grey, drizzly day today, and it has been raining, so these are nice and wet. But if it's dry, you can help them by weighing them down a bit by watering over them like this. If you've got lots of leaves, it's worth keeping some aside to use as a mulch during the actual growing season. They will help to cover the soil and therefore keep in soil moisture, reducing evaporation, and of course they will keep weeds in check. The great thing about leaves is that they are free and super lightweight, making them a very convenient and frugal alternative to bought-in mulches such as chippings. Compost ingredients fall into two categories. There's
browns and greens,
which have a relatively high nitrogen content,
things
like grass clippings, and then there are browns which are richer in carbon, things like straw and leaves.
Though coffee is a green.
There's lots and lots of greens,
even though they are
chopping things back, things like that. And these
because of their high
will
nitrogen content.
So these leaves, this is where your stash of leaves come in really handy.
I've known that for all of half an hour.
Add them in there, and if it's a bit wet and claggy in there, get in there and mix it all up. The leaves will help.
Grandma's thigh bone's great for turning your compost.
Getting you really good compost much faster. And now on to my absolutely favourite use for leaves, leaf mould, which is simply composted leaves. Leaf mould is full of plant-building minerals such as magnesium and calcium. Its soft, crumbly texture is fantastic for making your own potting mixes, and I've actually got a video on that which I'll pop a link to in the video description below. If you've only got a few leaves, then the simplest way is just to pile them all into a plastic sack. I just love all of this. It makes me feel so alive. And I actually go into the neighbouring streets and rake up the leaves there. And I think people must think I'm a bit of a crackpot, but why not? It's free. It's nature's gift. And
you know what makes me feel alive, Neal? Putting leaves in a plastic sack.
Great. Looks great.
Oh, I love people. I want a life like this.
Really,
this guy's got it.
I'm sorry. This man must live the happiest life. I'm just envious, really.
I just go around and I rake things up to get the free leaves. Woo! He's happy. He's doing his best thing. This is it. I gotta stop playing D&D and get more into gardening. That's the future.
That's your future. Yeah. That is where true happiness lies.
Give it a water before you do that, and then
I just feel so alive.
For aeration, stab some holes in, and this is where you can really do something quite cathartic. Stab it all up. And, watch your feet. That should do. Now all we have to do is stash this somewhere out of the way.
Watch your fucking hands, you mean? Jesus Christ.
If you've got lots of leaves, you can build a leaf mould cage. Simply drive home 4 corner posts and then stretch around some chicken wire mesh around the outside. Then pile in your leaves and cover it if it's really wet where you are. So how long does it take? Well, after a year, you'll have something quite rough and ready to put over beds. After 2 years, you'll have something really well rotted down that you can use in your potting mixes. And if that feels like a long time, well, think of it as an investment. Start doing it now, and then in a few years' time, you'll have a constant, steady supply of lovely leaf mould. Just like straw, bracken or bubble wrap, dry leaves are great at trapping air, which makes them offer great insulation. So bank them up around frost-tender plants for the winter. Another great use for them is to pile them up deeply over root vegetables to stop them freezing solid. Then, when you need to dig them up, simply brush them aside and get digging. And now for a super simple way to turbocharge your leaves, shredding. Shredding your leaves speeds up decomposition by tearing the leaves into smaller pieces so there's a greater surface area. You could use a leaf shredder for this, but if you don't have one of those, a lawnmower will do. Just spread them out fairly thinly and then go over them, and then once you're done, rake them up. Remember, you can collect leaves from just about anywhere. Paths and paved surfaces are a good starting point because you don't want them to get slippery. And if you're especially proud of your lawn, it's worth gathering them up from here too, to stop them from choking up your grass. Or use a mulching lawnmower to break them down into really fine pieces so they can fall where they are and feed your lawn. Most leaves can be used, but avoid the leaves of black walnut, which contain juglone, a substance that's toxic to some plants. It's worth avoiding leaves from conifers.
It's those black walnuts again.
Take ages to break down. Leaves from heavily trafficked roads or from sources where herbicides may have been used are also worth avoiding for obvious reasons. When you realise how incredibly useful leaves are,
oh my God, is he going to fall back in the pile of leaves?
Worldview changes, it really does. Leaves, bring them on. How do you make the most of fall? Let me know your tips and suggestions and experiences in the comments below. Please do pop this video a thumbs up if you found it useful.
All right, buddy. Okay, why not? All the leaves are brown and the sky is gray. Oh my God. It's lyrics to a song. California Dreaming. Okay, so I think we've learned a little bit about composting, browns and greens. You want the nitrogen. The companion of the kitchen waste was you cook the eggs, right? It was either you microwave them for 10 seconds or you bake them for a little while.
Yeah, you bake them in the oven.
In the oven.
Yeah,
what's the point of doing it though?
Or something like that. So let's go and do that. Okay, so we've got two options for sterilising our eggshells.
Oh, you want to
The
sterilize
first is
them.
spread them out onto a tray and pop them into a low heat.
And the oven's fine. The oven's not dirty at all.
Sterilising our eggshells.
Really?
The first is
I'm
to
gonna pause
spread
it.
them out onto a tray and pop.
It's got the speckling on the oven walls, I think is...
Look at the fucking door, Neal. What the fuck are you talking about?
The door. Oh my God. I was looking deep in the oven. Yeah, the door is sort of greasy.
Like, that's just... Like, no.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, what you do in your own home, I'm not judging, but if I'm making a YouTube video, my oven doesn't look like this.
Man. You would balk at what my kitchen looks like right now. If that oven door is too much for you to handle, oh my God.
There's a reason why we're not doing a cooking stream right now.
Although I do have a separate overlay for this program, which is, instead of tending the plot, domestic engineering, where we actually do household work like kitchen cleaning and scrubbing. Which we could do later. I do need to clean the fucking kitchen. Oh, but we got critical feedback and story time. There's no time to clean the kitchen today. I'll have to be done later. You gonna take gardening advice with a guy with a greasy oven door? Yeah, that's not the bottleneck there on the advice.
If you spend so much time outside, you don't have time, for cleaning your kitchen.
Where the fuck? Why can I not? Christ on a crutch. Not working. Here it is. Okay. Let's take a look at the crop document again. Oh, we didn't even get through the soil depth. Oh, we got stuck on onions. We were in the middle of a project before we discovered Ben and his...
You were looking at onions and you were like, this man looks like he knows about onions, and that's how we went, like...
And so we went into onions. Yeah. Oh, Christ. Okay. I just have to invite my friends over to watch gardening YouTube videos tonight.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Neal, I have to tell you real quick. So at work today, I tried somebody was asking me what I like to do in my free time, and I tried explaining to them that I play D&D without making it sound weird.
Good luck.
So I was like, so this is what I do. And she just looks at me and she goes, well, that sounds like D&D to me. And I say, yeah, that's exactly what it is. And she was just so happy she found someone else who also plays Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, that's cute.
It was the cutest thing. And I was really excited about it too, because finding someone like out in the wild who also enjoys that hobby was pretty good. So we had like to speak in a hushed voice so other coworkers wouldn't overhear us being like big nerds in the fucking break room. It was very cute.
Oh, that's adorable. I find people either know what D&D is and are super into it, or have no idea and ask a shit ton of questions.
But she was like, so what characters do you play? What's your favorite class? And I was like, shh.
Don't tell anyone, it's Necromancer. I love it. I always wanted to raise a family. How to choose the best vegetables to grow in your garden? The best ones? Okay.
I mean, clearly you make an extensive list over the course of 4 hours and you start watching videos about onions. That's usually the best course.
I ain't got no more time for this shit.
You started it.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Is I got no more time for the videos. I got to move on and figure out the seed depth. Okay, but we also have to do a couple new tracks because these garden tracks, while nice, are a little played out. So here we go. Carrots. Seed depth carrots. 1/4 inch. And pumpkins. One-half to 1. Excellent. Green onion. 1 to 2 inches apart, 1/4 inch deep. Do like me some green onions. I never really used to eat them, but then they were everywhere when we were in Vietnam, and I fell in love with them there. 1/2 inch deep. Cucumber. 1 inch deep. That's pretty deep. Potatoes. I don't think you grow potatoes from seeds, though.
I always thought you just
Yeah.
planted literally a piece of potato.
Yeah. Hold on. Does Greg have... Not Greg. Ben have something on potatoes?
Probably.
Growing potatoes from planting to harvest. Here we go.
Oh
Too
boy.
loud.
Potatoes are one of the most satisfying vegetables you can grow. And it's not just the growing part that's so satisfying. Harvest time is what makes the potato really special, when those delicious tubers are finally unearthed like buried nuggets of gold. Garden-grown potatoes are something else, I promise you. So if you've never tried growing them before, make this the year you do. Here then is our planting to harvest guide to potatoes. Before you plant, you need to decide what to grow. There are 2 main types of potato, main crops and earlies. Main crop varieties are usually bulkier and give a bigger harvest, and many can be stored for winter use. Main crops are typically harvested in late summer or autumn. Early varieties are ready from early to mid-summer and are further divided into first earlies and second earlies. First early varieties are first to crop, while second earlies follow on a few weeks later.
Wow.
Early potatoes tend to be smaller than main crop types, but they have the best flavour and often have a smoother, waxier texture that makes them perfect in salads. They're also sublime when served steaming hot, finished with a drizzle of olive oil and a scattering of herbs. Check variety descriptions for potatoes suited to different uses, whether baked, boiled, sautéed or cut up into wedges, or even a combination of these. Some varieties offer good resistance to common diseases, including blight, which can ruin a crop in warm, wet summers, or grow first earlies, which are usually harvested before the main blight risk. To plant a crop of potatoes, you'll need to get hold of some seed or sprouting potatoes, also sold as simply
celery?
tubers.
Oh, huge.
Large seed potatoes can be cut into smaller pieces to make them go further. Make sure each piece has at least 2 eyes and allow the cut to air dry for a day before planting. In regions where spring's arrival is a little slower, it's worth sprouting or chitting your seed potatoes. Do this up to 6 weeks ahead of planting to give your crop a head start. Lay them out in a single layer so the ends with most eyes, that's the dimples where the shoots will sprout from, face up. Place them into trays or old egg cartons which hold the potatoes steady. Keep them in a cool, bright place to sprout thick, sturdy shoots. Potatoes love rich, moist soil that's been gradually improved with organic matter such as well-rotted compost or manure. Avoid poorly draining soil to prevent tubers from rotting. A sunny spot on the plot will encourage the strong growth you're after. Plant first earlies as soon as it's begun to warm up in early spring. Second earlies are planted a few weeks later, while main crops follow on a couple of weeks later still, in mid-spring. You can use our garden planner to check the best times to plant in your area based on data from your local weather station. The planner is also a great resource for browsing variety descriptions and, of course, to lay out potatoes on your plan, so you'll know exactly how many seed potatoes you'll need to fill the area you have. Plant seed potatoes into dug trenches or individually as we're going to do here. Space them out so they are 1 foot or 30 centimetres apart along the row. Additional rows of early varieties should be spaced at least 18 inches or 45 centimetres apart, while main crops need a minimum of 30 inches or 75 centimetres left between rows. Dig a hole for each potato and plant so it's around 6 inches or 15 centimetres deep. Shoots should poke above ground within about 2 to 3 weeks. They'll tolerate very light frosts, but are best covered over with row cover or fleece if something colder is forecast. Once they reach 6 inches or 15 centimetres tall, begin hilling or earthing up your potatoes. Hilling mounds up the soil along the row to encourage more tubers to grow and to reduce the risk of light exposure, which turns them green. Use a hoe to draw up the surrounding soil around the shoots, leaving just the very tops exposed. Hill in stages like this each time the foliage reaches a similar height above soil level, and continue till the mounds are either 1 foot tall or the foliage above has closed over. Remove weeds early on, but fast-growing potatoes soon crowd out any competition. Potatoes need ample moisture for all that growth though. Water thoroughly in dry weather so tubers grow to their full potential, free of any cracks or hollows. You can harvest tubers small as new potatoes as soon as the plants begin to flower a couple of months after planting. Continue harvesting early varieties in stages from this point on, leaving the remaining plants to grow on until needed. This staggered approach to harvest makes it easier to enjoy potatoes at their freshest and tastiest. Main crop potatoes are usually harvested towards the end of summer or autumn once the foliage has died back. Leave the tubers underground for a further 2 weeks, then, on a dry day, lift them up with a fork, taking care not to accidentally pierce any of the tubers.
How can you not
Brush
pierce
off
them with a
excess
fork?
soil,
You don't know
let the
where they
potatoes
are.
air dry for a few hours, then store out of the light in a cool but frost-free place.
You can't beat a perfect potato. Check out our other potato videos too, including more on deciding what to grow and how to grow potatoes in containers. You'll find links to them in the video description below. And if you have
Oh,
a
right, I've heard
potato
about that too, like potatoes in containers.
Potatoes and potatoes?
No, in containers.
Oh, in containers. Yeah, where you could like build a box with potatoes in it, and then you could pull out the boards and reach in and grab potatoes and put the boxes back on. Yeah. Or just like a tall structure. Then you keep adding dirt, and the plant keeps rising, and you keep adding dirt, and then you tear it down at the end and get like more potatoes out of the same surface area. Okay.
It is a nifty idea.
Yeah, so potatoes go 6 inches in the ground. Cilantro. We're going to do this. We're going to finish the information. The seeds 2 inches apart. 1/4 to 1/2 inch. $1.5 to 2 inches. Oh wait, may place seeds into too dry soil. Whoa, hold on. No. Does he have something on corn? I don't know anything about growing corn. I've never done it before. From sowing to harvest. Oh, good, and it's a short one.
There's something pretty special about a handsome stand of homegrown corn or sweet corn.
Yeah, what's
But
up,
the
Jen?
real prize lies in harvesting.
I'm going to be a
it.
farmer, yeah.
Picking the cobs, then peeling back the sheaths to reveal those full, creamy kernels is just magical. While cooking them as fresh as possible for the sweetest taste, well, there's no better treat. If you fancy growing your own corn this year, you're in good company. So here are some tips to set you up for sweet success.
I love his
Grow
puns.
corn anywhere that receives
I'm here
plenty
for the
love how
puns
you-
mostly.
and so
I love how you're like, oh, we're gonna finish this, and then I come back 10 seconds later, you're back at a video.
Oh, how do you grow corn? I don't even know. I need some information.
been enriched with lots of well-rotted organic matter, such as compost. Its lofty habit and feathery tassels makes for an attractive plant in its own right. Hybrid varieties are usually the most reliable choices for cooler climates. If you want especially sweet cobs, then choose varieties described as such. Many will even have the word sweet or sugar in the name. Corn loves the warmth and won't tolerate frost. While the seeds may be sown directly outside once the soil has warmed up, the safest way to sow is into pots, under the protection of a greenhouse, hoop house or cold frame. This way you can begin sowing 3 to 4 weeks before your last frost date and enjoy a head start on outdoor sown corn, a huge advantage in shorter growing seasons. Sow 8 to 10 seeds, half an inch or 1 centimetre deep, into 4 inch or 10 centimetre wide pots. You can use any general purpose or seed starting potting mix.
Okay, but like, I need to watch this section again.
Loves the warmth, even have the word sweet or sugar in the name. Corn loves the warmth and won't tolerate frost. While the seeds may be sown directly outside once the soil has warmed up, the safest way to sow is into pots, under the protection of a greenhouse, hoop house or cold frame. This way you can begin sowing 3 to 4 weeks before your last frost date and enjoy a head start on outdoor sown corn, a huge advantage in shorter growing seasons. Sow 8 to 10 seeds, half an inch or 1 centimetre deep.
Okay, but these seeds, these corn seeds that we've got here, corn comes in many varieties. These look like popcorn kernels, but I don't think you want popcorn corn if you're going to be growing corn, unless you want to grow the corn for popping, right? So I guess you can just buy regular kernels at a regular seed store, I suppose. I don't know why it's tripping me out so much that he's using popcorn kernels, because clearly that's what a seed from a corn stalk is. But I was kind of imagining that if there was like not popcorn corn kernels, that they would look slightly different. But I think I'm just an insane person.
Into 4 inch or 10 centimetre wide pots. You can use any general purpose or seed starting potting mix. Alternatively, sow into smaller pots or plug trays, sowing 2 seeds to each pot or module, then removing the weakest of the 2 seedlings. Keep pots moist as they grow on. Ideally, you want young plants at least 6 inches or 15 centimetres tall by the time you're ready to plant them outside. Harden off the plants as your recommended planting time approaches by leaving them outside for increasingly longer spells over the course of about a week. Corn is wind pollinated, so instead of planting it in a row, set it out in a block for the highest chance of success. If the corn isn't well pollinated, it will still grow.
Oh, we
but will
already know
lose
that,
many
though.
of the kernels from the cob.
But now we know why we
Remove
do
the
it
young
that way.
plants from their pots, then very carefully tease them apart.
Try to retain as much of the soil around the roots as possible. Now plant your corn 18 inches or 45 centimetres apart in both directions. Dig a hole for each plant, feed the roots to the bottom of the hole, then firm the soil back in. Continue planting until you have your neatly finished block of young corn. Corn also works well when it's planted among sprawling squash, which carpet the ground and help suppress weeds as the corn grows skywards. Remove any weeds that pop up within your corn by hand, and continue weeding while you are still able to get in between the plants. Corn is sturdy and shouldn't need supporting, but it will appreciate watering in very dry weather, particularly from late summer as the tassels appear and the cobs begin to form. The cobs are ready to pick when the tassels at the end turn dark brown, usually around 6 weeks after first appearing. If you're unsure whether a cob's good to go, try the fingernail test. Peel back the top of the protective sheath, then sink a fingernail firmly into a kernel. If it exudes a creamy liquid, it's ready. If it's not quite there, the liquid will still be watery, and if there's no liquid, the cob is already past its best.
Looks like a close-up of
To
someone popping a
harvest,
pimple.
twist the cob and pull it away.
Yeah.
Aim to enjoy your harvested corn cobs as soon as you can. Boiled or barbecued, then served up with lashings of butter, pepper and a
Yeah, I
sprinkle
know what
of
to do with the
herbs
corn once it's done. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and the answer is don't stick it in his oven.
It's fine. It's not on the door. And the oven kills all the things inside because it heats up pretty hot. It's fine.
Sure.
It doesn't matter if the oven door is dirty. It has no effect on the food being cooked within. Says the man with the dirty kitchen. Green beans. 1 inch deep. Okay. So we've got our crops. I guess we don't need the season column since they're all spring. When we would start them indoors, when we would transplant them, a plant date. Now, he was talking about starting corn early, and watching him start his stuff and then move it to the garden, I kind of dig it now. I don't have the space inside to really start that much stuff in like little starter pots, but they don't really need that much space in their little starter things. So we're gardening. We're gonna do a bunch of gardening related streaming stuff this year now that we finally have land in which to do it. It's been on my bucket list for way too long. So we're getting our gardening shit together. This is not for a campaign, Slayteno. This is
you already missed out on all the onion stuff, so I suggest you look that up so you're prepared for next time, because we're not going to repeat that again.
What, you don't want to hear about the bulbs? They're great. I loved the onions.
I love big bulbs.
All right, so seed depth, and then we probably also want like a what's the term for how far apart they're supposed to be?
Spacing.
Thank you. Okay. Bell pepper. No. We want spinach spacing. 8 to 12 inches. Okay, 8 to 12 inches. Tomato. 18 to 24 inches. Ooh. Jalapeno. 14 to 24. And can we just take a moment and appreciate that Google will like give you the quick description from something and then bold the letters that you're looking for so you don't even have to read anything. They just give you the actual answers. Granted, sometimes they're wrong, but like 95% of the time, it's exactly what you're looking for. 18 inches apart. Oh, but then there's also row spacing, which is different. That's fine. I'm not going to worry about row spacing for now. 12 to 18. Should put some spaces in here. It is not too late for onions. You don't plant them until April. Snap peas. Mm, 18 to 24. Parsley. One to two. Oh, wow.
Is that too much or too little? Like, I don't know.
Too little.
Why you're
Everything
surprised.
everything else is 12 to 18.
What is
or
this
8 to 12.
parsley?
Yeah. Real close.
Which you also spelled weirdly, but
How's it supposed to be spelled? Parsley, right? Yeah. How else would you spell parsley? This is the right way.
well, you wrote parsley, and this says parsley. Neal.
Parsley? Parsley. Oh, no. Okay, it is. The L's in the wrong spot. Okay, you were right.
You're welcome. Technically it's my weekend, so.
Yeah, so what are you doing working? Just a glutton for punishment. Pumpkin spacing. 5 to 6 feet? No. He was talking about the Two Sisters method was talking about 24 inches apart and 12 inches or 6 inches out from the corn. 4 to 5 seeds per hill, 5 to 6 feet between hills. Okay, cool. So this is pumpkins, rows, 24 inches apart. And rows should be 6 to 10. Okay, perfect. Yep. 24 inches. Inches. Green onions. 1 to 2. Right, spacing at 1 to 2 inches within each row. Zucchini. 3 to 4. Cucumber. 36 to 60 inches. Excuse me? This does not look like 36 to 60 inches. Oh, but this is the trellised where they're growing up things. Right. 12 inches for trellised. We can build a trellis at the back. Okay, so we'll say 12 inches with how do you spell trellis? Trellis. Potatoes. $12 to $15. Mm, 2 inches apart. Corn. Three to 4 inches apart. 3 to 5 feet for watermelon. I don't even know if we're going to do
watermelons. Just don't do them. That's literally the only plant on the entire list where you're like rather mad about it. So just leave
The
them.
wife might like the watermelons, and it's a group project. I'm not alone in my house with only one person to work on this project. It requires some sort of compromise and working together and looking after another person's desires and needs and wants.
Is Lauren's favorite thing on the list the watermelon?
Probably not, but she likes watermelon, and I'm going to leave it on here just in case she's interested. You know, it's called thinking about other people. I'm very good at it.
It could also be just being bad at decision making, but I'll leave it up.
That's true. There is some room for it to be me being lazy and a bad decision maker. That is plausible. 1 to 2 inches apart, but not in this case. Great. So seed depth, spacing, row spacing. I don't really think we're gonna need row spacing as a thing very much because we only have the one planter box. I don't think we're gonna do like multiple rows of all of these things. Well,
for your corn, it's gonna matter, yeah.
Yeah, but I think instead of doing corn in rows, we're gonna do the corn in a circle with the green beans on the inside and the pumpkins around it, and then we'll just do a couple circles of corn, maybe. Maybe. Loofahs on the list. You can eat them when they're underripe, or you can let them dry out and get a shower scrubber. You mean like plant-based loofah? I've heard of these things. Oh no, I've never eaten a loofah before. Oh no. I mean, we already walk a cat on a leash. We might as well grow our own loofahs, right? We've already entered into the territory of weird. The hot peppers are the jalapenos. I used to have Anaheims on the list, but somehow they got removed.
Can we stop bringing Neal to put more stuff on the list? We're trying to get less things. Like it should be fewer options.
Small. There's only 18 items on 19 with the strawberries. It's a small thing.
Yeah, just put the peppers back on.
Okay. Well, you know what? It's critical feedback time, so we're going to end the tending the plot for the day. We will be doing more things in this variety. When it comes to time to actually, get the seedling started, we'll do some seedling streams and some mulching streams. We might not be as cool as Ben and his, what was it, Veg Grow YouTube? Or was it Grow Veg YouTube? Oh, it's got a whole website. Okay, growveg.com. Let's see. Oh, he's really pushing the companion planning made simple stuff.
Yeah, he doesn't have the time for this kind of thing, so he makes his own software. Yeah, it does exactly that.
Well, he's just the face of what seems to be a much bigger organization. Look at this. Ben Unhems.
Oh my god, it's Barbara Pleasant.
Oh my god. Jeremy Dorr and Jane Dorr. Hardiness, tastiness, needs. Wait, Jeremy is not very hardy, but Jane is very hardy.
Well, it's like they are vegetable, right?
Oh my god, but who would put their own hardiness down at 2?
Well, maybe he's a softie.
And he's not very tasty?
No.
But Ben, oh my god, is Ben tasty. Woo! Oh, here we go. Sam Stonehouse. This guy gets it. 8 hardy, 9 taste, loves himself some ice cream. Antonia Salter, though, is definitely the companion to Ben, and these two are going to murder you together. Look at this. She's also going to murder you. This guy's going to murder you. In fact, they're all murderers. This is a pig farm where they put the bodies, but they know so much about the plants.
I'm pretty sure that the two ladies on the bottom left are the ones that get rid of the corpses. I mean, if you have hardiness 10, really, you're the one who holds the body around, right?
Seriously. Howard, his needs are his home gym. Not just working out, but like specifically the home gym. He develops the interactive website content and finally gave in and started growing vegetables after 4 years of working for us. So they hire this guy to do the web stuff, and 4 years later, he's like, God damn it, I guess I'll grow something. Piece of shit.
Like, Howard, have you tried what I told you last week? And he's like, yeah. Leave me alone. I just wanted this job. I never said I have to grow stuff. Oh, God.
Oh, so Ben was the editor of a leading gardening magazine. Oh, okay.
Oh.
Barbara's written a bunch of books.
Leading gardening magazine. Out of the plethora of gardening magazines, he was really in the top 15.
It's not just a plethora of gardening magazines, it's the plethora of leading gardening magazines, right?
Yep.
Jane loves all things outdoors and ensures our staff are kept healthy, or happy, and paid. Good job, Jane, also known as HR. Jeremy is an avid computer programmer and keen organic gardener. That's why his hardiness is low. Got it. He's an indoor nerd. Susie's the only normal-looking person here. Avid gardener, managed our customer reach and social media communities on Facebook and Pinterest. She needs Yorkshire tea. Okay.
First of all, it's Yorkshire, and secondly, that's a really good choice.
I don't know. It looks like Yorkshire to me.
I'm not going to start this discussion with you. Okay. It's Yorkshire.
Oh. Okay.
Okay, go and have your critical feedback about something that's actually,
D&D related?
D&D related.
Yeah.
Except for this wonderful halfling campaign that we're planning in great detail.
Oh, man, we already have overlays for it, too.
Yeah.
Remember when we got Matt to make overlays for this?
Yeah, I know.
Where did they end up?
This was so good. I love that.
Shit, did we never finish them? I don't...
No, because you, decided to go with the other style, so...
I still want my halfling overlays.
Well, I already chose my house as well.
I know.
I know which one's mine.
Where's Lich Brush? Hold on. How far up do I have to scroll to get to the halfling overlays?
Well, I hope nobody had any important questions, because today they're not happening.
Oh, because then we did the overlays for...
Embers.
Embers, yeah. Or the doodles for Embers.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. The in the works halfling village overlay
this
campaign.
Is so beautiful.
The DM gets to go in the circle with the sun. Then each of these doors can open up, and there can be a player's face behind them, and then we can put stats or something on the clothesline out here. It's gonna be great. These overlays are only a year. Oh, no, they're only 6 months old.
Oh, they're older than 6 months now.
No, October 2020. Oh, my God.
It's not 20.
Oh, my God. A year and 6 months. Okay. Yep. Okay, great. I'm going to go do critical feedback now. We'll see.
All right, well, I'm heading out. I'll see
you. Ciao.